Hi friends, Anna Sabramowitz here. Hope you're doing fantastic today. Listen, I had a wonderful strategy session this morning, and what it did is it just inspired me to shoot another video for you because I feel like some of the conversations I'm having are resonating so much with me and with the person that I'm talking to, and also they are so aligned with some of the work that we're really trying to get off the ground in our weekly cohort sessions that this is going to be helpful. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you today about is what a lot of people struggle with. And it's something that I've struggled with myself. It's really talking to subject matter experts. And it's kind of funny because one of the things that we usually discuss is how do you pick the right person to be your subject matter expert? There is this notion, and my goodness, tell me if you resonate with this, that your subject matter expert is your client, and that your subject matter expert is the person whose whims and desires you are there to fulfill. And in some cases, this is not the right approach. In fact, most cases is not the right approach, because if you position what you do and the value that you bring to that equation in the right way, then the SME will actually come in engaged in a process. One, they're not really familiar with that process, but two, they'll see how you can actually help them be better than if they just try to do it on their own, or if they dictated all the terms. So let's talk about that process, because this is exactly what we're talking about during our next cohort, which is starting in May. So if this is something you want to get in on, then book a strategy session with me, because we are filling up and there's a limited amount of spots. We're only taking 10 students, and that's because we really just need to make sure that everybody gets amazing results, because that is my goal, to make sure you walk out of that cohort with something solid that you can launch, share, and also use as a portfolio piece. Okay, so let me just talk about subject matter experts. I have a blue marker and I also have some pink ones. All right, so your subject matter expert, really fabulous human. And what they have is what we call deep smarts. So they have this giant, awesome brain full of just contextual, fabulous goodness, right? That's a brain, not a toupee. Now, one of the things that happens is when you're an expert, you have this deep smarts knowledge. And the deep smarts knowledge, I like to kind of liken it to almost, let's say, like a DNA strand, right? They know how things work. And this at this level, this is not helpful to anybody, right? This information. You can't show this to a novice and be like, hey, there you go. Just take that and use it. Our job as the person who's designing the learning is to take this, what's in their brain, take this and somehow turn that into a single strand of sequenced events so that somebody can figure out what the heck this is, right? And there's a challenge working with a person like this. They're here. They haven't been here at the simple level for years, sometimes decades. They have no clue what it's like to be this person. Also, you might have a person who is not necessarily ever been asked to teach or to explain what they do. They might be one of those whiz kids that just was sent into the research room and told build and explore and come up with your inventions. They've never actually unfolded or unpacked their skill set, which to me is one of the things that we as designers, actually that is our magical skill set, because we are able to take information and skills and behaviors and unravel them to turn them into a sequence of events that creates a learning pathway for somebody. Now, one of the things that happens, and we talked about during a session this morning, I had this conversation, is one of the things that happens is when you get to this point where you actually have something unraveled and opened, it can be quite profound for somebody. It can be quite an interesting experience. And there's a part of it that comes in that you can actually simulate that adds a ton of novelty to this process for a learner who's like, if somebody doesn't know what DNA is made out of, then you show them a strand and you're like, whoa, that's amazing, right? You show them something, you can show that to them in a VR environment. It can be very engaging. But after the novelty wears off, which is very quickly, my friends, what happens then, right? So one of the things when you're working with the subject matter expert is you want to go beyond novelty. Novelty is great. Do not, dismiss it. It's quite fantastic. It grabs attention. It gets people's emotions up, and it's exciting, and it helps to trigger good feelings and interest. That's fantastic. Do not dismiss it. However, you have to go beyond novelty. And what gets people beyond novelty is context and story. These are two things that you're looking for to uncover from your expert. So you can't just find any expert, and those are the things that we really discuss heavily. Experts are one thing, but practitioners in the field and also recent learners in the field are going to give you some of this. And it's actually, there's a process for extracting story, because most people are not natural, they're not natural storytellers. When was the last time you heard a great joke? Most people who tell great jokes are rare, right? Because even that, and that's a mini story with a punchline, those people are hard to find. And also it takes them practice. So one of the things we're doing is we're trying to identify the criteria that not only helps somebody be a better subject matter expert for us, but also helps us uncover that story. Now, how do you do that? How do you now take this and make it all work? Well, my friends, you need to have a framework and a system to be able to do that, right? So we've got tip, don't use the red. Framework. A framework that our experience will fit into. And then a system to get the subject matter expert to give us what we need so that we can fit stuff into this. The system is for capturing story elements. The system is there so that, one, you're very efficient with this expert because they don't have much time. They're busy doing awesome stuff in the lab, right? Whatever. Also, this person doesn't need to learn how to be a great storyteller. In fact, they would probably resent you for trying to teach them because they're busy, right? So, what do you need? You need to have a sequenced set of questions and a process to draw out story in a systematic way, in the most efficient way, to feed it into your framework. So during our sessions, what we do is not only do we deeply dive into this framework, because you can't guide somebody if you don't know what you're working towards. It can't be carte blanche. It can't be a blank slate. It can't be the software. Once you've got that decided, and now you're able to go back and tap into this person with those targeted, focused questions that help you make an amazing story interaction. Then the part that is software is absolutely not an issue. For most people, this is the best part. They love this part. Why? Because a lot of software already has this built-in branch track, built-in interactions. You don't have to think. But the framework and a system need to be in place for you to actually be able to get that done. So, if this is something you want to dig deep into, get good at, scenariodesignsecrets.com/schedule. I have a link underneath, book a session, and we can talk about your goals and take you where you want to go. All right? Take care, friends. See you next time.